I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's News Update. An IDF soldier was lightly injured Wednesday in a riot in South Hebron when Palestinians threw rocks and Molotov cocktails at the security forces stationed there. Another soldier was lightly hurt in a separate similar incident in the West Bank near Rachel's tomb. IDF security forces used crowd control measures to disperse the rioters. American-Israeli Jack Teitel, also known as the Jewish terrorist, was convicted of the murder of 2 Palestinians and the attempted murder of 2 other people in a Jerusalem court on Wednesday. The court stated that Teitel was sane during the time of the murders and attacks, which took place between 1997 and 2008, rejecting insanity claims raised by his defense. Teitel is charged with the 1997 murders of Palestinian taxi driver Samir Balbisi and Bedouin shepherd Issa Musa Afmahamada. Teitel, originally from Florida, reportedly came to Israel in 1997 for the purpose of murdering Palestinians. He later immigrated to the country in 2000. Teitel was arrested for the crimes in 2009. He will likely receive the maximum life sentence. The Times of Israel reports that Israel has taken steps that seem to be aimed at restoring its relationship with the United Nations Human Rights Council, 10 months after it cut ties with the group. Israel's representative to the UNHRC, Ambassador Evyatar Manor, spoke last Thursday to the Council's president, Remijush Henshel, in what is believed to be the first senior-level official dealing between the two parties since last March, when Israel severed ties with the group over a planned fact-finding mission by them into West Bank settlements. The two reportedly spoke about Israel's participation in the Universal Periodic Review, which is a standard review that the UNHRC conducts of the human rights records of all UN member states. Israel participated in the first round of reviews, which concluded in 2011, but has so far not said whether it would participate in the current second round. The Times of Israel said that Manor asked Henshel to postpone the review. Meanwhile, Israel's Foreign Ministry spokesman Paul Hirschson said there had been no change in Israel's policy regarding the Human Rights Council. The UNHRC has been criticized by Israel and the U.S. in the past for having a biased and disproportionate focus on Israel. Florida Congressman Ted Deutsch was named the ranking Democrat on the House Foreign Affairs Committee's Middle East Subcommittee, one of 5 Jewish Democrats among the 10 Democrats on the subcommittee. Deutsch, who was selected on Tuesday, said he was humbled by the appointment and said this is a time of great challenges in the Middle East, the Iranian threat, Israel's security, tough issues throughout the region. And staying with Congress, legislation that would allow Israelis to visit the U.S. for 90 days without a visa was announced at a press conference on Tuesday. The bill, introduced by representatives across the aisle from both the House and the Senate, would grant Israel the same status as 37 other U.S. allies and help Israeli tourists and businessmen come to the U.S. more easily. The House version of the bill was sponsored by California Democrat Brad Sherman along with Texas Republican Ted Poe. Similar legislation was introduced to the Senate by Oregon Democratic Senator Ron Wyden. The White House condemned comments made by Egypt's President Mohamed Morsi from 2010, from before Morsi's presidency when he was head of the Muslim Brotherhood, in which he referred to Jews as, quote, bloodsuckers and, quote, descendants of apes and pigs. The remarks surfaced earlier this month in a video by an Egyptian satirist targeting Morsi and by the Middle East Media Research Institute. White House spokesman Jay Carney strongly condemned the comments on Tuesday, calling Morsi's language deeply offensive. Carney said President Morsi should make clear that he respects people of all faiths and that this type of rhetoric is not acceptable or productive in a democratic Egypt. Carney also made note in his comments of Morsi abiding by the 1979 peace treaty with Israel and his help in bringing about the recent ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. The Vatican has once again condemned the breakaway traditionalist group, the Society of St. Pius X, for their anti-Semitic views. The group recently referred to Jews as, quote, enemies of the Church. Cardinal Kurt Koch, president of the Vatican Commission for Religious Relations with the Jews, told the Italian religious news service SIR that any form of anti-Semitism is a non-Christian act, and the Catholic Church must fight with all its might against this phenomenon. Cardinal Caccia's statement was made just ahead of the Day of Jewish-Christian Dialogue, which will be celebrated across Italy on January the 17th. And that's Shalom TV's news update. I'm Teisha Bader.